But the Exora is not all perfect, there are some flaws. Hello everybody, it's Adrian for WapCar.my and I'm all about the details. Next to me here is the 2019 Proton Exora RC. RC stands for running change in Proton's terms, and in today's video I'm going to show you why the Exora is still the best budget 7-seater MPV. The Exora has been with us since 2007, and within a span of 13 years, it has gone through 3 updates. But none of them is what you call a major facelift, where it gets a drastic styling change. This just goes to show how gracefully the design of the Exora has aged over time, so big props to the original designer. So, important exterior bits on the Exora RC include this black front grille, LED daytime running lights, halogen reflector headlamps, 16-inch alloys wrapped around 205/55 R16 profile rubbers, as well as blacked out bits for the side mirror caps, roof and rear spoiler. However, I'm a little bit disappointed in Proton designers who did not inject that new generation Proton family design language into the Exora, such as the infinite width grille as seen in the updated Iris and Persona. Proton is very proud to call the Exora a C-segment MPV, but how did they classify that? The wheelbase of the Exora is 2,730mm, and anything with a wheelbase that stretches longer than 2,700mm is considered as a C segment. Oh, and I just noticed that the 16-inch alloys comes with that lug nut cover. Boot space with all 7 seats up in the Exora is not all that impressive. For example, the BRV has 223 litres of boot space with all 7 seats up. The Exora only manages about 100 plus litres. But then again, remember, the Exora is a very old car, so the packaging wise is definitely not as competitive as newer cars. But what's very clever in the Exora here is that you can artificially add a little bit more space by adjusting the seat angle of the third row seats. As such, you get a bit more space. But once you fold the third row seats down, okay, you get a completely flat loading bay and a little clever storage under the boot floor. If I were to describe the cabin of the Exora in 3 words, it would be spacious, practical and comfortable. Just look at the amount of space in here. There's lots of space between you and the door cards, you and the passenger. You don't feel too cramped up. Even the space in the back seat, which I will demonstrate a bit later. Practicality. Lots of very usable storage spaces in here. You get a teh tarik hook just right on the passenger side, card holder, more storage spaces, and you get a total of 10 cup holders in the car. In terms of comfort, this range-topping Exora Premium gets these semi-leatherette seats with fabric inserts, which are very spacious, supportive and comfortable, as well as this little nice armrest to make long journeys very relaxing. With the Exora RC, Proton has done a few things to make the car feel a little bit more contemporary. So for example, the new instrument cluster, which seen in the updated Saga, as well as Iris and Persona. You get 2 analog dials on either side with a center TFT screen that get to cycle through different kinds of information. But what's very cool here is that it even shows you your door opening sign, like which exact door, even the hood as well as boot are open. That is a very premium touch. Over to the center console, you get the new 7-inch touchscreen GKUI infotainment system with high Proton connectivity. This infotainment system has been featured a couple of times on our channel, and again, I like the display, very crisp. The reversing camera is also very nice, although I just find there's a little bit of bugs here and there, and it doesn't come with Apple CarPlay nor Android Auto, but again, I'm not complaining. With the new touchscreen infotainment system, Proton had to slightly reshape the center console trim, so it is now finished in a nice little gloss black with silver accents around, Proton inscription right below the screen. However, you no longer get that digital clock right here, that nice digital clock in the previous Exora, but no matter. You also get new 2 USB charging ports as well as a 12-volt socket, which was not available previously. Time for the big bottle test. Now, despite the spaciousness of the Exora's cabin, there's no proper place that's able to mount this large size water bottle, not the center, not the sides. So your best bet is to pass it to your passenger to hold on to it. Into the middle row of the Exora, I have the front seats adjusted to my usual driving position, and I'm 175 cm tall. I have about 3 tennis balls worth of space. And because the middle row of the Exora doesn't slide forward and backwards, this is the amount of knee room that you have. Space in the footwell, no complaints, but I have to say, there's this little cover on the bottom section of the front seats. If you remove it, you're able to slide your feet underneath the front seats for even more comfort. Other amenities in here include 2 back pockets, rear air vents, center armrest, reclining seats. The Exora is probably one of the last few cars to come with a center lap belt because this will not pass new regulations. Newer regulations require all cars to come with a 3-point belt. So this one, yeah, no. Getting the third row seats of the Exora is super convenient with this one-touch tumble function. Voila! And third row seats. Now, again, I mentioned that the middle row is non-adjustable for sliding. So yeah, this is the amount of knee room that I have just brushing. Headroom is pretty okay. I'm 175 cm tall, by the way. I get rear air vents as well as a reclining function for the seats, so you get to a very relaxed seating position. So driving the Exora, okay, so I think there are 2 ways that I can approach this review. One is I just tell you all the bad stuff about the Exora and make it sound like it's a worthless car. And the other way is to stand on a very objective point of view and assess this car based on its price and segment. So to recap, the Exora is a C-segment MPV. Now, direct competitors, you might not be very clear about it, but the direct competitors to a C-segment MPV, yeah, the keyword here being C-segment MPV, would be the Toyota Innova as well as the Nissan Serena S Hybrid. But those 2 cars are priced way higher than the Exora. So at this price point, about 50,000 ringgit to 66,000 ringgit for this range-topping Exora Premium, would be the likes of the Peugeot Dua Alza as well as the Toyota Avanza. Now that you have a clearer picture of the competitors of the Exora immediately becomes a very interesting value proposition because you're paying what is essentially the price of a smaller car for a mid-size family MPV. So to drive, the Exora, well, in a nutshell, doesn't blow your mind, doesn't blow you out of the waters because it's a very old platform. The whole car is just an old-ish car. The powertrain, 1.6 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol engine paired to the CVT automatic, makes 140 horsepower and 205 Newton meters of torque. And I believe it's the cheapest turbocharged car you can buy in Malaysia. Having a turbocharged engine in a 7-seater is the perfect fit. You just pick up speed so effortlessly. And this compared to its other rivals of the same price point with a 1.5 litre naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, those cars just don't hold a dime in terms of pulling power. Especially when you have 7 people on board, just put your foot down, the turbo kicks in, and off you go. This does ferrying people and driving, especially for the driver, a lot more effortless. We've put the Exora on a 0 to 100 test and we're quite surprised to find that it does 0 to 100 in 11 seconds dead. That's faster than a CX-5 2-litre. In terms of driving dynamics, the Exora is pretty decent. It takes corners fairly well, it absorbs undulations very gracefully. To put it in a nutshell, it doesn't feel like a 13-year-old car. The ride quality of this Exora feels properly modern, properly sophisticated, as expected from a car, you know, in the year 2020. If I were to look at the Exora purely from a 7-seater people carrier standpoint, the Exora is the best value for money option out there. Look, given at the 66,000 price point, you get cruise control, turbo engine, and this super cold aircon from Proton. There's just nothing else that offers this kind of package, this kind of performance, the driving dynamics. But the Exora is not all perfect, there are some flaws. Well, actually, okay, maybe quite a number of flaws. So first up is the CVT automatic transmission. This is perhaps one of the laggiest transmission I've ever felt from Proton. So for example, let's say I'm pulling out from a junction. Lag. Okay, it's moving now. Yeah, like pulling out from junction, I'm actually quite afraid. I have to look far ahead, plan, look for the gap, and floor the throttle just to get it moving. Otherwise, next up is the steering feel. Now a lot of you may equate hydraulic steering equals steering feel, great handling, fun driving. I'm sorry, not in the Exora. No, definitely not in the Exora. The Proton Saga also uses a hydraulic steering, but that is very well calibrated. It has very decent amount of feel, it's very smooth, it's light when at slow speeds. But the Exoras, I can't feel what the front wheels are doing. And when you come to a standstill, you're trying to park, for example, the steering is a tad too heavy, given that it's assisted. It's a bit heavy. Another little niggle that I noticed while driving the Exora is the climate control setting. The temperature setting is quite obscure. I'm not sure which side is cooler, which side is warmer. But now that I've tested and tried it out myself, all over to the left is cooler, all over to the right is warmer. So yeah, make sure you note that down. Frankly speaking, all the issues that I've mentioned earlier are not big problems. The biggest problem I have with this 2019 Exora RC is that Proton cutting the safety specs. If you remember, the previous Exora Bolt had 4 airbags. In this Exora RC premium variant, range topping premium variant, airbag count has been reduced to 2. You now only get 2 airbags across the Exora range, and I just find it, frankly speaking, very unacceptable. I mean, Proton, come on, you can cut on the seat materials, you can give me fabric seats, you can not give me a touchscreen unit, but you just can't cut safety specs. I just cannot wrap my head around cutting safety specs. So yeah, that's my biggest issue I have with the Exora. But if you look past that reduction in airbag count, I feel that the Exora is the best 7-seater budget MPV on the market right now. No one else is able to offer this kind of performance, space, features, and at this price point. So kudos to Proton for offering Malaysians a very good 7-seater family car option that doesn't break the bank. And this Exora will continue to capture the hearts of many Malaysians until its replacement is due. But I've got a feeling that the replacement of this Exora will not be priced the same way as this one we have right now. As always, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this. And let us know in the comment section below, whether do you think that the Exora is a good family car. Head on over to WapCar.my for the latest reviews, comparisons, photos, and virtual reality showroom to help you decide on your next perfect car.